Hi, I'm Samantha. When I was born, my parents didn't have enough money and they were always pinching pennies. That's why my dad worked 2 jobs. Mom soon had to join him. She was constantly running between shifts, and Dad was always away on business trips. In the end, the one who really took care of me was my sister, Ellie. She was 5 at the time. And if there were an award for the most responsible preschooler in North America, Ellie would have won it hands down. While Mom peeled potatoes or folded laundry, Ellie put me to bed and sang a lullaby that she'd come up with. I'm an angel with a ribbon of blue. May the stars in space come visit you. Now close your eyes and sleep. Drift off to dreams so deep. Neighbors, acquaintances, even the clerks at the supermarket, everyone called Ellie a sweetheart. The epitome of the daughter that every parent wants to have. And since I was literally glued to her from infancy, I grew up convinced that my sister was the perfect version of a person, and I was her little copy. Ellie had a signature word, marvelous. As soon as I learned to say anything coherent, I started inserting that word everywhere.
Marvelous porridge, marvelous diaper.
The adults were always either cracking up or rolling their eyes so hard you'd think they were trying to find a turn off your kid button on the ceiling. Ellie also had a habit of walking with her hands clasped behind her back. Kinda similar to an elementary school teacher. Of course, I started to walk that way too. And, well, you can imagine the outcome. I was forever falling over, running into walls, and banging into the furniture. Once, I saw Ellie whispering secrets into her best friend's ear. And, of course, I decided that I absolutely had to whisper in someone else's ear too. Unfortunately, the only ear available and willing to hear my secrets belonged to our cat, Mr. Pumpkin. I would lean in and whisper something like, meow meow, secret meow, don't tell anyone, and then proudly lift my head and declare,
he said he agrees.
Ellie burst into laughter, clapped her hands, and played with me as though I were her little assistant or a miniature version of her. We even matched our outfits too. If she went for a denim jumper, I'd wear one too. If she did pigtails, well, I made sure I did too. But the older we got, the clearer it became for me. For her, all of this was turning from some cute game into an exhausting show. She never snapped at me, but little by little she began to, have a life of her own. Almost as if her personal map had regained a region labeled, please little sister, give me some space. When Ellie turned 15, she started dating a guy named Chase. He looked like a typical school heartthrob from a teen movie. And there I was, a wise little 10-year-old, watching them like they were my personal TV show, thinking, so that's how I should act if I want to be like my sister. And obviously, I figured I needed a boyfriend ASAP. Because if I didn't, how could I possibly be anything like Ellie? And that would be a crisis of epic proportions. So I pretty much bribed the neighbor kid, Mark, into being my boyfriend. But I don't want to! He wasn't particularly thrilled, but I bribed him with a chocolate bar and a promise that it wouldn't be for long. Our relationship lasted 2 weeks until Mark realized he could get chocolate bars without participating in my weird game. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, and soon you'll find a chocolate bar under your pillow. And then came what I call the era of inexplicable Ellie. She changed boyfriends as often as she changed socks. Not because she was searching for true love, but because she seemed determined to prove to herself and to everyone else that she wasn't the perfect sweetheart people adored. One classmate of hers, a boy named Bobby, tried to win her over. He was the most devoted human on earth, a literal poster boy for infatuation. But Ellie brushed him off. She even laughed at him, almost as if she was trying to make herself look bad. And that's when I first wondered, did I really need to copy my sister? Maybe I did have a mind of my own that wasn't just an echo of Ellie's. For example, I always loved astronomy. I was really into stars. I studied constellations, read books, and watched documentaries about them. And I was a good student. I was fascinated by how the universe worked, while Ellie seemed like she wasn't interested in anything at all. And honestly, Ellie's whole look, the leather jacket, the dark jeans, it just wasn't me. I wanted to wear bright t-shirts with space prints. But I'd spent so long being a mini Ellie that I was afraid that if I changed, she might stop giving me that gentle, loving attention I'd always relied on. I had a friend named Rachel at school. She was such a troublemaker that if anyone ever wrote a textbook called How to Sabotage Classes, she'd be on the cover, depicted sitting on a desk and chewing gum. And Rachel really looked up to my sister. She's so cool! You're so lucky to get to live in the same house as her. Rachel genuinely believed I was cool, simply because I mimicked everything Ellie did. Meanwhile, life at home was falling apart. Ellie quit school before finishing her final year. She fought with our parents non-stop. During the day, the night, non-stop. She'd run away, disappear for a day, sometimes weeks. Mom would cry and Dad would shout, and I always defended Ellie. Well, maybe she's just tired. Give her a break. I defended her no matter what, even when she probably didn't want me to. And when I turned 15, I started to notice that Ellie was hiding something. She kept messaging someone, leaving the house without saying a word about where she was headed. She even started to carry around a backpack, despite not going to school anymore. At some point, I realized I needed to investigate, gather my wits, and switch on full Nancy Drew mode. The first thing I did was start following my sister. I was convinced I was saving her life or something along those lines. She would leave the house in this oddly quiet way and constantly look around like she thought spies might be tailing her. I would hide in the bushes or pretend I was out walking the dog. Sometimes, Ellie met with some shady adults who had "I'm suspicious" written all over their faces. She would hand them some small bundles or packages. They would quickly say something and then disappear. Once, I saw her get into a car. My sister spoke with the driver for just a minute, then suddenly jumped out and slammed the door as if the car had burned her fingers. And yeah, she had a weird backpack. The moment I got within arm's reach of it, Ellie went off like a fire alarm. Don't touch it. To make things even weirder, she was often talking on the phone in this hushed voice, as if she were about to spill all the secrets of the universe. And the moment I appeared in the doorway, she changed the subject. I was completely lost. It felt like my sister had gotten herself into some serious trouble. And then, one day, when I was keeping an eye on her again, everything just blew up. I was trailing her from a couple houses back, doing my best to look casual. And, of course, that's exactly when Rachel showed up. Hi! Oh, your sister's here too! I want to say hi to her! Her voice was so loud that if there'd been a forest nearby, every hibernating bear in it would have woken up. Ellie heard her instantly. She stopped dead, turned around, saw me, and the look on her face said it all. Game over. Were you following me? No, just taking a walk. Leave me alone! I'm so sick of you! You're always in my face, copying me, trying to be me. Her words hit me way harder than any yelling our parents ever had done. And right there, on the street, with cars buzzing and people rushing past us, I realized for the first time, my sister wasn't someone I looked up to anymore. I went home almost numb. I laid in my room all evening, looking at the ceiling and wondering, what if I've never actually been my own person? The idea scared me, but somehow, it also felt liberating. The next day, I opened my closet and, for the first time in years, picked something that wasn't from the Ellie-style playbook. I put on a bright t-shirt with little planets on it and the jeans that I'd always liked, but Ellie called too childish. And suddenly, it felt like I could breathe easier, like the air had gotten fresher. I started doing the things that I actually loved. Astronomy, studying, little projects. When you start being yourself, it's like the world feels different. Colors pop and people seem more interesting. You feel so much more confident. And the craziest part? People actually noticed. The girls in my class suddenly said I looked different. Like there was something cool and unusual about me. They wanted to be friends with me, to get to know me not as Ellie's sister, but as me. But Rachel, naturally, she acted like it was the end of the world. You betrayed your sister! You betrayed me. Whatever. I don't have to be anyone's clone. She stormed off like I'd robbed her of her superpower, but I stayed calm. At the school talent competition, I presented my astronomy project. I made a whole presentation, a map of constellations, and I explained how to find different objects in the sky. When it was over, I heard applause, and that was better than any recognition I'd ever gotten from copying Ellie. After the presentation, Steve came up to me. He was a quiet guy from my class who usually sat somewhere in the back. That was cool. I love astronomy too. Maybe we could go to the planetarium together? I agreed, and not because I was trying to imitate anyone. It was just that Steve was genuinely interesting. Ellie, meanwhile, kept slipping off somewhere, hiding her backpack, whispering on the phone, getting home late. But for once, it didn't bother me. I finally realized that it was her life to live. I didn't need to be her mirror image anymore. I started dating Steve. We talked about the stars, looked at the sky, and we did our science projects together. When I wrapped up my school astronomy project, I actually got invited to study at a really cool college. I also picked up a side gig at the planetarium. I gave tours, helped out during lectures, and explained to kids that constellations weren't just pretty dots in the sky. I loved it so much that they quickly made me the shift lead. And the pay got pretty good too. I felt like I was finally standing on my own, like a little planet that stopped orbiting someone else and found its own path. But, of course, the universe seemed eager to check how firmly I stood on my feet. Because a few weeks later, someone started doing nasty things to me. It started with my money going missing. I saved up $20 to get a new astronomy notebook. My wallet was right where I'd left it, but the money was gone. Then strange things started happening with Steve. Someone sent him a message pretending they were me. We can't be together anymore. I found someone else. Steve sent me a screenshot of the message. I spent a long time explaining that it wasn't me. Someone must have used my phone while I wasn't looking. The next blow was my astronomical model of the solar system, which I'd been working on for almost a month. I brought it to school for a competition. But when I looked at it, I saw that one of the planets, Saturn, my favorite, had been neatly sliced with a box cutter. I stood in the middle of the class, holding the mutilated planet, feeling everything inside me sink. And of course, my first thought was, it has to be Rachel. Who else? She was pissed at me, thought I'd betrayed her, and hated the fact that I just wasn't my sister's copy anymore. I was getting ready to confront her when life threw me a plot twist so big, it shattered all my suspicions. It happened in the evening when we were having dinner, and suddenly the doorbell rang. 2 police officers were standing on our doorstep. I knew right away something bad was coming. Good evening, ma'am. Are you Ellie's parents? The spoon fell from Mom's hand. What happened? It turned out that my sister had been arrested, not just for some minor violation, but for robbery. This whole time, she'd been hanging out with a bunch of delinquents. Ellie and her new friends were ambushing teens near the mall, taking their money and bags. At first, it was just some, hey, can you spare us $10 kind of scam? But the last time it escalated, things got physical. One guy got injured, and he went to the police. They found some of the stolen items in Ellie's room, and her phone had chats with her gang. Tips, locations, schedules. What to snatch and from whom? This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was an actual crime. Mom cried all night. Dad sat in the kitchen, clenching his fists as if he wanted to crush the air. And I didn't even know what I was supposed to feel. The trial was fast. Ellie was sent to a correctional facility for a year. Our parents tried to do something, but the evidence was overwhelming. And here's the weird part. The moment she was gone from the house, everything stopped. No more missing money. No fake messages. No ruined projects. Nobody touching my stuff. And then it hit me so hard I could barely breathe. It was her, my own sister. The one I'd followed around like a puppy since I was a baby. The one whose little catchphrase, marvelous, I repeated until people begged me to shut up. The one I always defended. Rachel came up to me at school. So, all of that about your sister is true? I told her everything. Every detail. Every fact that had already replayed 1,000 times in my head. I thought that being Ellie's sister was cool, but this is not cool at all. I'm sorry I was so harsh. It's okay. Just try to be yourself. Honestly, that beats everything. And that's how the year went by. It was slow, eventful, and surprisingly calm. I studied, worked, dated Steve, and kept expanding my planetarium project. For once, life felt stable and predictable. Then Ellie returned. She came out of juvie different, quieter, more grown up. Like something inside her had snapped and she'd been put back together again. She apologized to her parents first, and then to me. She said she'd been pretending to be a grown-up, thought being a bad girl was cool. But in reality, it just destroyed everything in her path. I couldn't forgive her immediately. The resentment was buried so deep, it felt like it had woven itself into every memory I had. A few months passed, and suddenly I noticed something. My sister had started copying me. I know it sounds weird, but she really was acting just like me. She returned to school to finish her senior year, picked up a part-time gig. Her style got more low-key, more relaxed, pretty similar to mine. Even her voice changed. It got calmer, more thoughtful, and she began dating Bobby. Yeah, that Bobby, the one she'd once made fun of. And one evening, when I was getting ready for bed, Ellie came into my room. "You're so amazing. You know that? I want to be like you." I looked at her, saw the guilt and something very human in her eyes. And suddenly, for the first time in a long time, I felt that I could let go of that resentment. You don't have to. Just be yourself. We hugged and sat like that for a very long time. I could feel the tears rolling down my sister's cheeks. She was genuinely happy, and now I was the one singing her a lullaby, just like she used to sing to me, so Ellie could drift off peacefully, so we could finally have that gentle, marvelous peace we'd both been missing. And you know what? I realized one thing. Imitation might help you along the way, but real adulthood starts when you have the guts to be yourself.